Good afternoon, Phillies and Gentlecolts, ladies and gentlemen. This is PMV Today host Synergy, and you're listening to PMV Today Spotlight Podcast. Creativity, uniqueness, breaking the fourth wall. On this midnight special of PMV Today, I'll be interviewing a rather awesome PMV artist who has it all. Yes, tonight I'll be interviewing RainbowdashZX, a rather impressive artist, and a nice guy to boot. Wyatt, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello, hello, hello. All right, so it's late. Let's get right into the questions, and we'll see if we can have some time after it all to bounce off what you've told me.
All right.
Initially, I'm wondering, where are you from?
I wouldn't say exactly where I'm from, as this is the internet, but I would just say Eastern United States. That's the best way to put it.
So in America, that's kind of the big thing. We've had interviews with people in the French Alps, so it's been all over. So America is broad enough. That's fine.
Oh yeah, seeing diversity in the fandom is really nice, cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would be asking you if there's a story behind your username. However, perhaps I should be asking, do you have regrets for having that username?
Let me think. Regrets? Yes and no.
Okay.
I would say yes because it's such a straightforward name and very uncreative.
Okay.
But on the other side, on the other side of the coin, it's an earlier name in the fandom because I had joined the fandom earlier than a lot of other people. And so it really, for me at least, it's become rather an icon.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'm talking up myself a little big there, but it's really to me, it's become a rather icon and more of a staple.
So more so something, like an homage to our favorite rainbow-maned mare?
Yes, exactly.
All right, and now you said you've been in the fandom for a while. How did you get into the fandom, and how long have you been in it for?
Okay. It was around June, July of 2011 that I had been seeing the image macros, GIFs, parody videos and whatnot just popping up along the internet. And at first it surprised me, as anyone's normal reaction be like, why did a show like this show up on the internet? Why is it popular? I haven't heard of this in 10 years, except those McDonald's toys. And so it really catches your eye, and at first you just kind of shrug it off, but it's like, wow, this is getting a lot bigger than I thought it was. And so it was actually through a forum I'd been frequenting for a few years that finally posted a thread, should I watch this show? And I was like, people are that considering of watching a show like this that they're posting a thread on a forum completely unrelated to even cartoons. Yeah, that's a sign. So it was about actually a week after my birthday, which is the 14th of October, that I finally started watching. I watched the first episode of season 1, and then the second half, which would be episode 2, and I knew I wanted to at least finish season 1 because I'm a rather OCD person, so I felt even if I don't like this, I've already begun. I'm not just going to stop.
You're going to finish it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's about it.
It's funny when how I got into the fandom after a chain of things. I essentially sold my soul for a piece of pizza. My friends were counting down to something, and it happened to be the opening of the second season. And I knew what they were counting down to, and it was driving me crazy. And then they eventually told me, it's season 2 of My Little Pony. I'm like, My Little Pony, really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then they ended up saying, okay, because I was really hungry that day, so I'm like, if they said, if we give you a piece of pizza, watch the first 2 episodes of the show. And I'm like, okay. So I go in there, I watch the first part and second part like you had, but it wasn't sticking with me. It actually took the 3rd episode going through that I actually really started enjoying it, and then, I've been unfortunately snagged by it since then. All right, but this is not my interview, it's yours. I'm wondering, out of anything you could have done, how and perhaps why did you go into making PMVs?
The reason I started making PMVs was because I felt like I needed to, if I was going to watch the show, and because the community is so big, and even then it was so big, I felt like I wanted to contribute. And at the time, I had only had video editing skills, because I was doing, I guess freelance video editing before then, but not really, because it was really for myself. So video editing was the only thing I really knew. And I was like, I've watched this show. I think of a song that could go cool with this scene. Let's try it. This was neat. I'm putting this on YouTube. And that's how it began.
Everything starts at one point. Baby steps. Everyone started at the beginning.
Yep.
Um, did you? Now, I did happen while perusing your channel. Were you the one who did voices? Voice acting, a slight bit of that.
Yeah, I did. Although in recent years, my voice acting's kind of been far and few between across the internet.
Mm.
But I did a bit of voice acting, mainly for my younger brother's animations, which are now in the deep depths of the internet where no one can find them anymore. But yes, I have done voice acting here and there.
All right, cool. Do you plan perhaps to add some voice acting into future PMVs?
That would actually be a really cool idea. I like that. And so perhaps I will.
That would be pretty awesome because I recall I was watching Rebirth, your PMV Rebirth, and you have that segment where the song cuts off and there's an audio track of some sort of a woman talking,
Mhm.
and I found that to be really unique. Like I haven't heard a PMV that did that. So,
Yep.
you know what? Perhaps. Okay. Well, we'll have to keep that in mind. Take note of that. Moving on. What was perhaps your favorite? Who's your favorite character in MLP, and maybe what's your favorite episode?
Well, I think right now, favorite character probably really it should be obvious, I think would be the best way to put that. So I'm just going to go ahead and either make people wonder or figure it out as it's right in front of their eyes.
Okay. I won't
And
even feel it because I think I figured it out as well.
yes. Favorite episode. I haven't actually picked a favorite episode. Rather, I seem to have picked favorite episodes per season, since to me the seasons have been so different from each other that I can't
Yeah.
really compare each other. It's almost two different shows when you look at season one to say season four. They're almost
Yeah.
completely different shows.
Okay.
So to give you an answer on that, season one, my favorite episode probably Sonic Rainboom or Feeling Pinky
Mm.
Keen.
What an iconic episode Sonic Rainbow was. I mean, I've seen like millions, so much footage from on PMVs from that particular
Oh
episode
yes.
where Rainbow Dash breaks the light spectrum.
hmm
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, let's move into the core questions. We've had a bit of an introduction.
hmm
So I'm wondering, while watching your videos, I found they did hold a particular uniqueness. You combine typography with some cool filters on top of your videos and so on and so forth. But I have to wonder, what do you want to bring to your audience with your PMVs?
Ooh, that's a good question actually. What do I want to bring to my audience? What I want to bring to my audience is something they can sit down and watch where it doesn't take them half an hour to watch it like some of these really long PMVs are, and it isn't something that's over in a flash. And on top
Yeah.
of that, not just length, but I want it to be something they haven't seen before, but have seen before enough that it feels familiar to them. So I don't want to just throw clips to a song, but you've seen all these motion graphic videos before where it's lots of shapes and lines and stuff shooting through the
Oh,
screen.
fantastic stuff. Yes.
Yes, all in a creative sense, yes, it's fantastic. They're very good at what they do, but for the show, I don't think it holds true to the colorfulness that the show brings because you kind of lose a bit of feel that you get from the show when you see a motion graphic video where the only thing you recognize is maybe a vector of one of them or maybe a picture of Canterlot. Other than that, you feel detached. So, not to go on for too long, I think the best way to put it would be something between full motion graphic and basic clip editing. Something in between there, where it's
Okay, and
just
that's what you'd say
familiar
your style
enough.
was?
Huh?
That's what you say that's your style was, or that's what you were talking about the other style?
My style is something in between there, is I guess the style I'm shooting for, and
Okay.
hopefully the
Okay.
style I've achieved.
All right, so that's valiant of you. You want to bring something to your audience, keep them amused. I'm thinking it's funny you mentioned you like keep it short, keep it to the point. The guy I was interviewing last time, he had like do you know the online web phenomena, a Doctor Horrible sing along blog?
I've heard of the name. Unfortunately, not much more than that.
Okay, well, long story short, he made a PMV that was like 45 minutes long to go with that, and that was madness.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, I know all about that.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. What were your influences when making PMVs, or what inspired you to make them in the first place?
Okay, influences. Probably since when I joined the fandom, I had been watching PMVs all the time since, as I told you, video editing was the only thing I'd done.
Hmm.
So I was looking for people that did video editing, and influences probably I am X Korean X, Mandarin Orange, and I hate being on the spot with names because I kind of forget them.
That's
Hmm.
fine. So far, you said Mandarin Orange and Korean.
Yes, those are two prominent inspirations for me who
Okay.
I don't necessarily draw creative inspiration from, but more motivational inspiration from because they've put in the effort that they have into the videos they've made. It really inspires me to do the same to my work.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, I'm wondering how different your response will be from the recent interview I did. What software do you use to make a lot of your animations, or what multiple softwares even?
I don't particularly use multiple softwares as it can, in the past when I've tried things like that, it causes issues.
Mm,
But since I started video editing back in 2006, I have been using every released version of Sony Vegas Pro.
okay. So you can do a lot with Sony Vegas Pro then, can't you?
Yes. And to put Sony Vegas Pro for anybody who is curious if they need it, Sony Vegas Pro would be the gap between Microsoft Movie Maker or Apple's iMovie and say something like Adobe After Effects, which is the premier editing software.
Yes,
So
of course.
it's a step up from the basics, but it's nothing overwhelming, and it's actually really easy to learn as well.
All right, excellent. What do you think perhaps your software has over the basic media editor you can come with? I mean, the Dega Yamar, the guy I had interviewed before, he only used the editing video editing software that came with the computer. It's like some Microsoft thing.
Hmm. Uh, uh, More than, I think the best way to put it would be that Sony Vegas Pro enables your creativity more. It doesn't streamline your projects or whatever you want to create. It doesn't streamline it, but it opens up your ability to be more creative.
Okay.
So I'd been thinking about an analogy to this because I get this question asked me a lot. The best way to put it would be you can take a pencil and draw a fantastic picture, a fantastic portrait, or whatever it is, or you could take, you know, a paintbrush and equally draw something fantastic. Either will look great. It's really just you that can bring out the creativity in yourself to bring something forward. And I think Sony Vegas Pro just helps bring that creativity out of you a lot more than any other software that comes on a computer would.
All right. Well, very well said. That was excellent. An excellent answer to my question as well. Okay, we'll move on because you definitely succeeded in the last one.
Thank you.
Um, so I know I kind of brushed over this at the beginning of the interview, but what do you do to establish uniqueness in your work? Because there's a lot of PMV artists out there, and you've racked in however many followers. I have your page up, but about 2,364 followers, and I'd only imagine those followers to increase as you continue to improve on your craft. Perhaps tell me about your technical choices, or your thematic choices, or your character choices. What you do to establish uniqueness in your work.
Okay, that's actually, I would love to go over that because it'd be really fun for me too.
Awesome. Go for it.
Um, okay, if I create a video, I will find either in a new episode, which for me doesn't happen often when I make a PMV. It's not usually the episode that gives me inspiration. It's usually the song I choose. But I'm
Mm,
just mentioning that as some scenarios, like with, as you mentioned, Rebirth. That was inspired off of the episodes, not a song choice. I had to find something to go with it. But typically, if I find a song, I'll go, how could I put this to, Friendship is Magic? How could I portray this song through means of using clips from this show? And so I will take the song and I will actually listen to a song 50 to 60 times a day for a few days just to where I figure out every feel, every note in the song that would drive a different emotion, and so on and so forth to this song. And then comes the choice of clips, where which scenes from which episodes I could put to this part of the song to really drive the message that I'm trying to say with the song.
Okay.
And then from there, I'll drop the song into a project and then start choosing my clips from each episode and then throw it all in. And then I'll just start dropping clips into different parts of the song and then tie it all together and throw it up on YouTube.
Awesome. There you have it, the complete the complete production line. Do you find that you get almost bored or uninterested in the song you used for the PMV because you heard it so many times? Because I've had that experience myself, where I've just listened to a song so many times it no longer has its charm for me.
Yes, I can tell you for sure that has been happening to me because I've got 9 projects right now that are just in the works, but the song is so burnt out to me, I've lost all inspiration to do it.
Oh.
But it's because I've heard the song so much over a course of time. The initial listening is, as I told you a little bit ago, to really pull out all emotion, all of the message I want to convey. So the first like listening period, I suppose you could call it, I don't lose inspiration to make a video because of that time.
Okay, okay, cool. Sure. All right, let's move on. Since you actually did kind of bring this up, losing inspiration, but I do have a question perhaps for you to hone in onto that. Have there been any difficulties that you've encountered, and how have you overcome them in making your
Okay,
PMVs?
difficulties, yes, I have encountered them very often. Um, Difficulties would be, like I said, losing inspiration in a song and trying to give something new that somebody else hasn't done before. Like if somebody has done a song that I want to do, but they did it better than me, I won't put forth my version if they've conveyed the message I want to convey. And
Okay.
so that's really where it comes for me is trying to convey a message with a song, with a PMV, I mean, using a song.
Yeah.
But if somebody else has done it before me, if I believe that they did what I wanted to do or better, I won't do that song.
Okay. So
So that's
you give credit to
essentially,
those that deserve credit.
yes.
All right.
So I guess that's really covers both parts of the question where it's if I overcome it is any problems I have like that, I'll just say good job, you did more than I could have done and move on from there.
That's good. You seem to be a good sportsmanship then. Okay. So I've now learned that you did have some difficulties on your projects. However, what would you say the hardest project you've worked on is? Because when looking at your page, almost every description after a lot of work, after an exhausting amount of work, do you have a particular PMV that really sticks out, that really made you work hard? It was the hardest project you worked on?
Hmm. I have to think about this for a quick moment. Of all the
That's fine.
PMVs that I've worked on, the one that has given me the most inspirational trouble or technical trouble or overall trouble would probably be. Hmm. I'm actually kind of drawing a blank here. Probably because I don't upload PMVs that often because the amount of work they take. But I'll have to throw it out for you just to be fair because it is your question. One of the hardest. Okay, yes, I actually have it. One
Oh,
of the
okay.
hardest PMVs was one I did uh, last year. Well, okay, no, 2 years ago in 2012. It was a PMV for "Not Afraid" by Eminem. I had been wanting to do a completely lip synced PMV where it's just almost not even just clip choices but lip syncing. And with that, it became increasingly difficult as I worked on the project because I didn't want to, and I don't in any of my PMVs, reuse a scene over and over in the same video. So my material was stretched far and few between. And I actually, while working on the project, I had to wait until an episode came out that gave me more material to work with.
Oh wow. Okay. So I have a question then. I'm interested. So the first Eminem video was, what was it called?
Not afraid.
Not Afraid. So you did just recently make another Eminem video called Lose Yourself,
Yep.
which I found really cool. There was a lot of interesting effects on it and lots of perhaps fourth wall breaking, if I recall correctly. Um, so perhaps could you compare the most recent Eminem project you've worked on, Lose Yourself, to the 2012 Eminem project? What you've improved on, or maybe what you would like to improve on, or what you thought the original Eminem, PMV had on top of it?
Okay, with the new one, I did have the intention. I said, I'm gonna do another Eminem project because it is actually one of my more requested, not genres or particular songs, but artists is actually Eminem because he's not PMV'd
Mhm.
that often. And
Yeah.
so I said, I'm going to do this. Who do I want to do this for and why? So I chose the song first because I thought it's the most well done, well paced song. And then I thought, who most fits the lyrics? And so I had to go through a checklist in my head of who would most fit each part of the song and the message it's conveying. And that alone took me 3, 4 days just to decide on that.
Okay.
And
And this was your for your Not Afraid PMV or your Lose Yourself PMV?
lose yourself, PNB.
Okay. Okay.
And so I was thinking, I already did Not Afraid for Applejack. So who could I do one for that is different, but essentially has the same attitude because both songs share a similar attitude to them of not giving up. Who could I give this next PMV to that shares that similar attitude? And so after like I said, the 3 to 4 day period that I was thinking about it, I decided Rarity was my best choice. And that also contributed to that I haven't actually done a real Rarity PMV before.
Okay. Do you find then that you tend to favor one pony over another in your PMVs?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Because when I do my PMVs, like I said, it's about a song and a message I want to convey.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe, like my newest one, Sonic Boom. So that definitely doesn't make sense for, Pinky or Fluttershy. But I only favor them for that particular song. So my PMVs aren't made for the characters, it's made for the song and the message I want to convey with the song.
Okay, well, we are getting closer to the cutoff. I mean, we have about 8 minutes left. I'd like to move on to the final question.
Okay.
Um, so, what do you plan to do in the future? Anything perhaps to alter your PMVs? Any ambitious projects? Do you mind giving us some insight?
Sure. That's fine. Um, I want to do, I wouldn't say more frequent PMVs. I want to do more scheduled PMVs so they don't
Okay.
come off as spontaneous.
Okay.
And I would love to do a lot more collaborative works with other PMV artists or even people that want to start PMV, which I have done in the past, but I'd love to do that some more because I love helping people out, and in return they really give me inspiration and a push to keep moving forward.
Okay.
So those would be the two main things: is more collaborative work and more scheduled PMVs.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that you might be interested in bringing something in to collaborate with someone and to collaborate with you. I think one of the greatest advantages that people in fandom have over, we'll say, the real world, is that we're all bronies, and there's a lot more chance of getting a collaboration. We all we're kind of all on that same level if you follow that logic.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and once you get over the fact that the pop you guys, it's what are some of the okay, Black Griffin and Tombstone. I mean, I've talked to these people. I'm no one special. We're all bronies. We all like the show, and I think more bronies should really get over that illusion of fame, and more so look at it at a more basic level, which is we're all bronies. And I think as an outcome to that, we'll have a lot more finer pieces of artwork because it's two heads coming together to make something greater. That's a really unique thing you find in fandom. I mean, I've been all over fandom for a very good, for the greater majority of my life, and you get a lot of opportunities through collaborations. So for anyone listening on this, collaborate with people. It's a fantastic way. Perhaps you're piggybacking on this person, but think of it like this. You are a no-name PMV artist. You collaborate with a better-known PMV artist by after asking him over a note or something, and then you get a bit of attention from this from this collaboration, and suddenly you have perhaps half the amount of followers that the better known PMV artist may have. And then when you do a second collaboration, you're suddenly having a lot more reception. And it goes on like this until you kind of piggyback each other and you've both got a lot of followers. Um, Do you think that's a logical way to take it, Wyatt?
Yes, absolutely. I really like the way you put that. And to add to what you said,
Mm,
when if you're going to even if you don't collaborate, if you want to put yourself out there, remember, people will come to you if you're good, but people can't come to you if you don't first put yourself out there. So don't be afraid to say, here's a little, I guess you could say a plug. Don't be afraid to submit your new PMV to say PMV Today or to Equestria Daily just to say, hey, I've made this, I would love to share it with the world. Could you do that for me? Don't feel ashamed to do that because we're all, like you said, we're all together in this
yeah.
and nobody's bigger than anybody else. So
Yeah.
don't feel ashamed or don't feel bad about yourself. You're really just putting yourself out there. And that's
Exactly.
the first step.
Oh yes, there's many, many steps, but I don't like even using the word fame. I think fame is an illusion in that, when you see people who have more subscribers than you, it's not because they're famous, it's because they love what they do and they have that determination and that drive. Why you'd mentioned earlier on, and I kind of want to bounce off of this because you know that we got steps going, right? We're stepping upwards.
Mhm.
On the fact, if you don't want to collaborate, you just want to get your stuff out there. Think of it like this, folks. You write a story and you publish it to some publishing company in the real world, and I'm putting that in parentheses. You publish it to the real world, and you have the potential of however many people on this planet, 8 billion people, to read your story. How many people are going to read your story? Definitely not 8 billion. However, if you say publish a story on FimFiction where you have however many million bronies, you know that many million bronies are going to want to see what you have to have written. Same with PMVs. Here you are attracting a specific audience. A lot of people on the outside don't usually go out of their way to browse PMVs. So keep that in mind that you really are appealing to a large majority, and just have a bit of faith in the system, and you might in fact that's all it takes. It just takes one opportune moment, one video that suddenly you've got a million views on it, and everything's been totally changed for you. And that's the brilliance of fandom, and in specific the Brony fandom, because it's so young, and just like a young kid, people can rise to fame and fall from fame in the matter of a year. So it's definitely not out of reach, folks, and I do encourage everyone to try their hand at PMV making, or writing or artwork, anything. Get your skills out there, and definitely people will come if you're passionate enough.
Yep.
Yep. All right. And oh, look at that. We've got about 3 minutes till cut off, I think. Unless we have any questions from the audience. Justin, do we have any questions from the audience? We'll cancel it. If not, we'll close it off. And doesn't look like it. All right, folks. It was really great. It's awesome if some of you guys stayed up at 12 o'clock tonight to listen to this podcast. I didn't expect you to, so don't worry if you weren't here. And that would be me signing off. Thank you very much, folks, for listening on in.